Hey everybody, it's Alexia from amysticspath, back with another weekly energy video for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Now, I just want to go ahead and dive right in, let you guys know what it is that I see and what I'm feeling for this week, because when I looked at this message and I was pulling this message and I was concentrating on this message, I literally flipped the cards over and seen what was on my mat and screamed in excitement. And for a lot of us this week and the next weeks ahead are going to be really good or end in a really good result. Now, what it is that I'm feeling and sensing for this week is this message coming through, or this thing that you have been searching for on an emotional level that you've been trying to come in, almost that you stumble across it, or it kind of gets placed into your path. And this is because spirit is literally, I literally see spirit as working like a genie almost, that they are working to help you acquire what it is that you've been trying to call in. Or if you haven't been trying to call in anything, I see them as rearranging things and moving things in a way that pushes you closer to where you're supposed to be on your path, or your next phase in your path. And I just want to say ahead of time, I'm sorry if my dogs are barking in the background. They're a little feisty today and hear dogs in the area. So sorry for that. But anyways, when I look into the cards and what I see for what I'm seeing within them for this week, we get the Wheel of Fortune as well as Marasa. And this is what I seen and just lost it. I got so excited because when we look at the Wheel of Fortune, we see people that are completely in different phases and have different jobs within this. Okay. But when the wheel decides to turn, when it decides to move, everything gets shifted. Not one thing is not connected to this. Everything gets shifted. So if you feel like, oh, this might happen for somebody else and not for me, no, something is going to change. Something is going to shake loose. Something is going to break free. Okay. Now we're okay, the Wheel of Fortune isn't always a positive card. Sometimes it can just indicate change. Change can be bad, can be good, whatever. Yes, and that is true. But when we look at it with the Marasa, we have to match these energies of these cards and see what both of these cards are saying to us. And this is one, things are going to begin to shift and change inevitably. Things are going to be able to start to break free and break loose. And when we see the Marasa, we see things coming together in creation. See, we see two people here, but down here there is three. And this, to me, is the symbolism of your masculine energy, you declaring your will, you stating what it is that you want or don't want, and the feminine energy of the divine and its ability to create and to give comes in and is okay, I see your energy, I'm going to match your energy, and I'm going to give, this is going to be the creation of this. See, it's not just all the divine on their side. It is also your will and your power that you have put into, whether getting out of the situation that you're in, or calling something in, or even just moving along because you've been stagnant. And this is the divine saying, things are changing now. What you've been asking for, what you're screaming for, I'm going to meet you. I'm going to meet you here and give forth this much energy, because this is the amount of energy that you've put forth. And something here is being created, okay? It might not be the end all, be all, but something here is being created and solidified into the physical, okay? Now, when we look at how this will affect us mentally, we get into the Justice card and the World Egg, which I was even more excited again when I flipped these cards over, and I was like, no way, what? Yes, but yes, this is so awesome, because when we see the Justice card, when I really see her, I see her as firm and immovable in her place, almost that she has discovered her worth in a sense, and this sense of confidence almost. But when we look at the sword, she has it down in emotion, and she's holding it down as to say that this is my place, this is my domain. You will not come through here, you will, none of that. What I say goes. This is my place to delegate. And she has the scales as well, which is stating that the run of bad luck and how your bad luck might be more than your good luck, right? And it might be off balance, that things are going to kind of come to a place where they're going to be balanced. All right. So when we see this, we can mentally see and mentally like observe, see with clarity that things are starting to kind of balance out. Things are kind of starting to come together in a way. And this is indicating that this is because whatever it is that you're calling in, or there's something that you're stumbling across that puts you in a new path. Is it a new way of thinking? It might be. Is it some putting you in a whole new direction? For some of us, it might be. Okay, but either way, we see our mental state starting to balance out and being able to see and clearly see the justice coming in for our lives, that this bad place that we've been in isn't where we have to stay. And that can be the refreshing new path that you're going on, or the new thing that you're obtaining. And it might be something physical as well. Okay, because for all of us, it's different since this is a collective reading. When we get into how this is going to affect us emotionally, we get the Ace of Cups met with Alofi. And this just made me even more fucking excited. Like when we see the Ace of Cups, we see things being refreshed and renewed. And also that there's this breakthrough, this outpour, okay? And when I'm looking at these two cards, it's almost like this breakthrough, this refreshing breakthrough and outpour matched with Alofi, which we can clearly see is pregnant with what, the world? Yes, she's pregnant with the world, okay? So we see this breakthrough and this almost like the floodgates coming through, almost if you would think of somebody's water breaking before giving birth. And that's kind of what this is, this refreshing new new emotional energy, and that something is literally being birthed into the physical. And this something is going to be refreshing and completely new and bring this new sort of refreshing energy. It's just like the word is just want refreshing. It's coming through so strong and so hard, refreshing, but also that we're seeing something being birthed into the physical, and we can emotionally feel this. We might not understand why we're feeling this, especially if things are still looking bleak and dark, but we're nonetheless feeling this emotional energy that a breakthrough is coming. Something is going to happen, something is going to change, and something is being brought into this physical world. Okay, now when we get into how we need to work with this energy, one, we're looking at the 10 of Pentacles, which is all about legacy. And then we have Madame Lulun. And when we see this, we're looking at our future and our legacy and all that it is that we want to acquire physically and in this physical realm. And we're looking at that, but we're looking at it in a new way, from a new perspective. Okay, we're entering into a new cycle. So maybe this is going about to obtain what it is that you are trying to obtain in a whole new way. We're in a refreshing new cycle, that things are starting to come in and things are kind of starting to flow almost. We kind of see her pouring in to... She's pouring into the water, but what she is receiving from pouring in and dumping out the remains of that old cycle of the things that didn't serve her, she is that much closer to the legacy of who she is supposed to be in this new cycle of being closer to her better self. Okay, so we really have to factor in with all of this change and all of this change that is happening and acquiring. We have to make sure that we are the person who deserves it. We are learning through our lessons, and we are the person that deserves what it is that is coming to us. So we're looking at what type of person that we want to be and the type of legacy that we want to carry, and starting working towards that being your new cycle, the legacy that you want to leave. You have to begin to start working towards that person and showing up as that person every single day, and start that as your new cycle, not the cycle of somebody who's been stuck in the mud, if that makes sense. Okay, and when we get into the conclusion cards, it just kept getting better and better and better, right? When we get into the conclusion cards, we get the Sun, we get Oshushi, and Zatoli. And I didn't even notice that 3 cards had came out until I had flipped them over. But when we're looking at this, we see clarity. One, when we're looking at these two, we see clarity on our path. clarity on our divine path, okay? And when we see these cards together, when we are looking at the Sun card and we're looking at Oshushi and we're looking at Zatoli, we are looking at clarity, motivation, and taking action right away. Okay, we're looking at motivation, taking action, not wasting any effing time on your path. That's what we're looking at. We're going to be gaining this clarity, this next step on our path, and that we need to just go ahead and take action on that, not really like pity pat around or try to beat around the bush. We're just like pulling back, like literally pulling back an arrow and shooting it and shooting for the effing stars on our path. We're taking chances on ourselves here, okay? And really knowing that the message is coming through from the divine and it's bringing you this clarity and it's time to move forward on your path. This is also like you have the clarity. It's time to move forward on your path and don't second guess yourself or underestimate yourself. And when, of course, I pulled supporting cards as well, but I kept on having it come through is that autumn is the time that things die off. And I couldn't figure out why that was what was coming through, but it makes a lot of sense when I really sat down and was looking at the supporting cards to the message that I had. And because we get the cards of prosperity, banishment, and rebirth. And what it is that I'm seeing here and why that message was coming through is that autumn is the time that things die off and that things kind of go dormant. And this is because, and it's matched with the prosperity card. Why? We factor in prosperity as abundance, right? And a lot of money or having a lot of one thing. No, prosperity is literally like having yes, it's having an abundance of things, but it's not always an abundance of money. Okay, this is all of the things that you have acquired, all of the abundance that you have acquired, whether that is good abundance or negative abundance. That's the thing. See, this is why I was getting the message of autumn is when things die off and go dormant. And this is because we are supposed to, and it's also the time of gathering and of harvest, correct? So this is a time where we are looking at all of the things that we have acquired, good and bad, right? Now we're banishing what it is that doesn't serve us, what it is that isn't positive for us, what it is that is not in our highest and greatest good. And then once that is killed off, once that is like buried and died and whatever you do with that shit and you get rid of that, it is a time for rebirth. One coming up from the ashes and strength and being birthed into this new person that has this, that is going towards, this legacy, that's working in this new cycle to be the best version of themselves, to be a person that they can be proud of, to be somebody that they wouldn't mind their name being spoken and lived on after their death from the type of person that they were because of this new cycle that you are supposed to be entering into. This is what this rebirth is talking about. You entering into this new cycle as this whole new person on your path. But I'm really excited for this because I see, especially for the people who are ready, you have to be ready. And when this message or this opportunity comes in, you have to be ready to obtain it and to grab onto it. Like I said, whether it is just, your mental state clearing and things coming together in such a way that you gain a new perspective, you have to be ready for that. And if it is something that you've been trying to call in, that is coming in and things are starting to change and be created for you, you have to be ready to obtain it. You have to be ready to obtain it. And I feel like I can't stress that enough. You have to be ready to obtain it. And you have to be ready to work on being the best person that you can possibly be and looking at things, in this new cycle and going towards who it is that you ultimately want to be at the end of the day when your life looks good and when it looks happy. You have to start working on that today while things are changing, while the universe is trying to gift you. Because if you're not going to be the person who deserves this, then you're not going to get it. And you can ask, and you can kick, and you can cry, and you can scream, and you can throw a fit. But if you're not going to be the type of person that Spirit knows you're supposed to be, they're not going to gift to you something that you're asking for when they feel like you're going to take advantage of it or do with it in a negative way. So we really have to be ready to be able to start to evolve into the person that we are deep inside, without all of the external chaos and the trauma that has came in and all of our circumstances. Okay, so really focusing on that. But potentially, I feel like this can be one of the best weeks and energies to be in that we've been in for a very, very long time. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, please feel free to contact me. If you feel that you need a reading specifically for yourself, because one, this is for the collective. Please do not hesitate to contact me. I would love to work with you. My schedule is back open. So like I said, don't hesitate to contact me, and everybody have a great day.